Hello and welcome to Westfield Middle School's video news magazine, Cloverfield News. I am a part of this quarter's announcements class. Since there are no announcements, we are publishing some videos produced by students in the WMS Communications class this year.
We will look at what some of your favorite teachers were like as high school students.
We will see a family who has established a charity to help kids in Africa.
We will see a funny video of what people are like on the basketball court.
And we will hear from 3 students explaining their first impressions of COVID-19 and how it led to this quarantine.
Have you ever wondered what your favorite teachers were like as high school students? Well, now you can find out with this video made by Ellie, Sarah, and Miranda.
Well, I was a pretty good kid because I had to be, because my parents were really conservative and they had strict rules. But I was a little bit rebellious too.
Wow, that's so long ago. I would say that I was well-rounded. I played sports. I was also in show choir.
Oh my gosh. I don't even like to think about that. When I was a teenager, I was a huge nerd, super dorky, loved to study, liked to do homework, liked to do projects, was in bands, played the flute.
Quiet, shy, athletic.
As a teenager, I was pretty quiet, did a lot of sports and did school, but I didn't do a whole lot outside of sports and school.
Oh, that's a tough question. I was actually shy when I was like a young teenager, like 13, 14, 15, 16. And then my personality just kind of grew like when I started getting interested in football and sports. So more of like outgoing.
As a teenager, that's a good question. I was, I think I was outgoing and I loved sports.
As a teenager, I would describe myself as a punk, someone that did not listen to their parents like they should have.
As a teenager, whoa. See, if I'm thinking about my viewpoint, I feel like I was very compliant and did what I was supposed to do. But my parents always referred to me, I was the middle child.
Like when I was a teenager?
Yeah.
How would I describe myself as a teenager? Athletic, chill, friendly.
As a teenager, I was very athletic. I was also a rule follower.
As a teenager, I was really into sports. I was really into my youth group as well.
As a teenager, I would say as a teenager, if I'm thinking this year, like 13, 14, I would be unorganized, not having any idea where anything is. My locker would be a total mess.
As a teenager, oh man, I was loud and obnoxious. I was the cheerleader, let me tell you. Everything Spirit Week, all me. Spirit sucks here. I was the loudest, obnoxious one. So basically, it's kind of like me as an adult. That was me as a teenager too.
Thanks for that awesome report, Ellie, Sarah, and Miranda. I wish you could be with us to tell us what else they said. I never would have thought that Mrs. Abriani, a wellness teacher, would have been a nerd teenager. For our next report, the Lovemore Foundation was created by Katie and Ian McDaniel to help support the people of the Congo in all sorts of ways. Here is a video that tells us more about their foundation, along with what it is like adopting children from the Congo.
Lovemore is a non-profit organization that was created to support children in Congo. Katie and Ian McDaniel founded it after adopting 3 children.
It's our desire, after going and seeing the brokenness in Congo, to give back. And so we have a feeding program, and we run a girls' home, and we sponsor over 180 kids for education.
Adopting can be a rough experience to go through, and sometimes the adopted children are affected by their traumatic past.
Each child has different unique experiences that really shapes who they are. Study and research on adopted children is that their brains are actually wired differently. So this actually can be true in biological children, but in adopted children, it's significant in the sense of trauma.
The process of adoption and going through all the paperwork and experiences that come with it is very difficult and can often cause stress upon the families adopting.
It requires filling out all kinds of forms and investigations and telling all about your life, sharing about your history, your home ownership or rental history, just everything about you. And then interviewing multiple times and being investigated by different people and touring your home. So it's a very humbling and eye-opening experience.
Find out more about the Love More Foundation at the official Love More website.
That is really cool. Not only did they adopt, they created a charity to help the kids left behind. Looking to make a donation? Go to the Love More Foundation on Facebook for more information. Next, we have a student from the communications class we have here at WMS talking about their experience during quarantine.
Okay, so I first heard about the coronavirus. It was on an app called TikTok. You probably heard of it. A lot of people were using a sound, and it was like coronavirus, and so we began to like wondering. Well, I began to like wondering what it was. So I did some research, and it was a virus that came from China, and so I started wondering. When I became aware of the virus, it was not serious. It hadn't even reached the United States. How I felt about it, I was kind of like nervous and scared at the same time because I didn't want it to come to the U.S. Because I knew if it would come to the U.S. that like people would get it, and then it would start, people would die, and like, yeah.
So currently, my biggest struggle with social distancing is not being able to see my friends as much, and I feel like I'm having less and less like social interaction, which means it's going to be bad for my mental health because my friends are one of the things that like hold me up. And then my biggest fear about coronavirus is that it's going to be so bad that we're like never going to be able to leave our houses, and we're basically going to be on like national lockdown where like you're only allowed to leave for food and water and like stuff like that, and that like one of my family members is gonna get it and then they're gonna die. That's another big thing. Or that we're gonna like not be able to do holidays, like family gatherings, so then we like can't even see our own family.
There are 365 positive cases of coronavirus in Indiana. More than 2,900 people have been tested. That means 13% of people tested in Indiana have tested positive.
So I kind of knew that we were going to have an e-learning for like a whole month or like a month and a half, because I knew that the government wanted people to stay safe, and in our school there's like it's safe, but I feel like there's a lot of germs and like stuff like that, and people could get it faster. So I kind of knew that we were going to have an e-learning, and I don't like it at all. It's so boring. My parents have me, my sister, and I under quarantine. My whole, like, everybody's under quarantine. It's really boring. Like, there's nothing to do except like watch movies or something. It's really boring. So yeah.
I think that it was cool that information about COVID-19 was spread all around the internet, and that they were trying to inform people about what they could do to help slow the spread. Now from another video from a student at WMS.
When I first remember hearing about the coronavirus was on February. I first became aware about the coronavirus was when I started seeing videos about people fighting over toilet paper.
Hey, stop! That's enough!
When I felt school was gonna close was on after March 12th. So it basically did because there wasn't gonna be school on Monday and for 3 weeks. For the most part, I'm kind of frustrated of e-learning.
I think my greatest challenge is trying to remain calm and not worrying about what is happening out there and not getting bored because it's kind of hard to entertain yourself in your house the whole day without communication of your friends and knowing what's out there. You kind of get scared and worried for other people, so it kind of affects your social life. Store just yesterday and it's hectic. I've seen many people and many shelves completely gone, and people are going crazy about the food and everything. And I mean, I get it, people don't want to leave their house, but I guess some things are limited now, where toilet paper can only get 1 pack and then you have to go, and things that are being out of stock and then the next day they're back in stock, but then the other day they're out of stock. So it's a lot of things to process, and other families don't have the chance to get it. So some people can be extremely selfish and just get the whole thing.
Not seeing my friends. I can only FaceTime them or but I hope that they create the thing to not make us
The
have
vaccination.
The vaccination, yeah. Before everybody start to panic, and the grocery stores are wiped out, empty.
In Indiana, 12 people have died from the coronavirus. This morning, Indiana reported 106 cases. So far, there has been 365 cases in the state.
When I first heard about how we were going to have to stay home for 3 weeks, I was excited. I was excited to sleep in and hang out with my friends. And then it got serious and I couldn't see them anymore and I could only FaceTime.
Because of quarantine, I am no longer allowed to see my friends. The only way I can communicate with them is through FaceTime. Even when I'm not on FaceTime, it makes me sad that I can't see them in person.
Some of the plans that I've heard our government is laying out to help us get out of this quarantine are to have everyone stay 6 feet away to prevent the spread. The Department of Homeland Security is to facilitate a whole-of-government response to help detect the virus sooner, and the CDC is to study the virus worldwide to help communities respond quicker and more efficiently to the virus.
I remember the first time I heard about COVID-19. I was watching a TV show with my dad. It was about how a new flu-like virus comes about every 100 years, with the last one being in 1922. So it was pretty close to now. Then they talked about it. It only had 3 cases in China, so it wasn't named yet, but it was corona. That's the first time I ever heard of COVID-19.
Families need help. Small businesses need cash. Hospitals need funding. Their Senate majority is ready to deliver.
When I first became aware that COVID-19 was getting serious, I felt mixed. On one end, I didn't want to do e-learning for a month, and I didn't want to not see my friends for a month. But on the other end, hey, no school, who doesn't want that? Except, for the teachers and Mr. Hall. Overall, I was happier than most of my friends about it, but I still had my doubts.
I'm a school counselor, so I have been off of work, which means I miss my
kids and I'm not able to do my job the way I want to do it, which has been hard. But I've got to spend time with my family, which has been really good. I'm actually enjoying the simplicity of everyday life a little bit. As far as my emotions about being quarantined, it kind of ranges. Sometimes it's like, yes, and then other times it's a little bit scary, a little uncertain. I've kind of learned to start embracing the uncertainty of every day is kind of something new, and that actually can't be bad to kind of stay in the present. So that's me.
I first heard about school closing at school Friday. I was okay with e-learning at first because this means less time than actual school, and also I get to sleep in longer. It's been easy so far, only having 2 hours of homework each day. I was disappointed when I heard that we weren't just not going to be able to go to school, but that we had to social distance ourselves too. Not being able to see friends has been the worst part.
The first time I had a feeling that school was going to close was when multiple teachers in different classes told us to start taking binders and other papers we were working on in class home. Some people blew it off, but I really felt like the school was going to close because of this. I felt a mixture of happiness and sadness. So far, e-learning has been okay. The work has been relatively easy, and we finish most classes, but I have a feeling that it will change when our subjects have to change because we've already learned the stuff we're working on. I personally haven't felt this is enough to get scared yet, but I've seen my brothers and friends express fear over this. This is my COVID-19 story. What's yours?
We do not want to leave you thinking only about the pandemic, so this last video today should make you laugh. Our own Trey Buchanan helped with this one.
What are you wearing?
What am I wearing?
Why are your shorts so high?
It's the new style.
Man, you're playing good today, Will.
It's all the short shorts.
What are you doing? Where's the layout?
Oh.
Give me the ball, I'm the guard!
Shoot! That way! No! That way! Oh, shoot! Run B! Swirl around! Hey, elevator screen! Hey, get him! No, what are you doing? Stop! Oh my gosh! Hey, no screen, come on! No! Hey, cut!
I'm moving! What are you doing?
Practice snatch you out all the time. Come on. That's the ball! What the? Why are you shooting that? I'm hurrying. What are you doing? Hey, ISO! My shoulder hurts. Sorry, guys. Feel a little loose. Just got a massage. Oh shoot! Get back from defense! Hey! Foul! It's not foul, it's just street ball. Oh, he's only 2. Get him out. Come on, son, you gotta make those, but it's okay. As long as you're doing your best, you're okay. Just make those next time. What are you doing? I just told you to stop shooting. I took you out. You know what? Give me another sub. You won't listen. Get him out of there. Go.
Noggin.
Trey, tell us who you were working with and what your inspiration was for this video.
I worked with Will Irwin and Porter Road to create this video, and our inspiration for it was from a group of guys on YouTube named Dude Perfect that did a video similar to this one. The funny thing is that all three of us weren't ever able to find a time where we could do it all together. So we had to use my 8-year-old sister and 3-year-old brother as actors for some scenes too.
Thanks, Trey, for that awesome report. That is all for today. Ellie, Sarah, and Miranda asked several of the WMS teachers what they were like as teenagers. And thank you to Mrs. Long, Coach Hagemeyer, and Mrs. Carnes for providing pictures.
And we learned about the Love More Foundation helping children in Africa.
We heard from 3 students explaining their experience with distance e-learning.
And we had a good laugh with Trey and his friends. This is our second pandemic version of Cloverfield News, but we do want to bring you one more. Currently, the communication classes are working on a series of public service announcements about COVID-19. And we'll be working on something for you next week as well.
That is all until May 12th when we bring you our final episode of Cloverfield News. So for now, goodbye.
Stay home and stay safe.
Wash your hands.
Do your e-learning.
It is a great day to be a Shamrock.